So I grew up as a kid listening to lores about wildlife, human-wildlife coexistence, and the most famous epic adventure of King Gesar. So this used to be like a ritual in our village during the winter time because it's quite cold and there are not many activities to do. So among few stories, there are some that have long-lasting impact on my career, and I would like to, and I'd like to share the one about snow leopard. So I'm going to share three major events about the snow leopard that shaped my career in some way. The first one is about getting to know snow leopard. As a child, I think it was in 1998, 99, I don't remember. So I was around 8, 9 years old. I heard my parents talking about snow leopard killing our livestock. And then I didn't care much about that until our horse was killed by snow leopard. So that was the first time I heard about snow leopard. And as a kid, I pictured this might be something, a gigantic monster killing livestock. And with this curiosity remained on me for a long time. And the second event was about the spiritual connection with the snow leopard. So my grandmother was quite spiritual. She used to live in the retreat center away from the village. Every Saturday, I will run to her to learn about different tales and then lores, and that was like some of the biggest joy that I could have at that age. And she was the one who explained me in detail about snow leopard, and she shared a big story or interesting story about her encounter with the snow leopard. She was the one who introduced me about blue sheep, Himalayan marmot, and livestock that is killed by snow leopard. And out of this, the most important thing was she said snow leopard is considered sacred species, and it holds a great value in our traditional belief because it is considered as the god pet or the deity of the pastures. Whenever we go to the alpine meadows, we have to please or we have to satisfy this the pasture deity, and if we fail to do so, the pasture deity will get angry and it manifests in the form of a snow leopard and kill our livestock. If we further neglect it, and ignore this or provoking the deity, it might cause further harm or it brings disaster. So that was my spiritual get to know with the snow leopard. And the third and the most important event was like encountering the real snow leopard. So after my school in 2007, I was traveling to Limi Valley. It's one of the valley in Humla. And that time, I was leading a group of local tourists as a local guide, and we were visiting a monastery. It's called Til Monastery in the valley. There are 3 settlements. So Jang, there used to be a Jang in the east, in the middle Halji, and the eastern side there was a village called Til. So after visiting the Til Monastery, I was asked to lead the trail down to the riverside where we will meet the main trail. So I was walking ahead of the rest of the team, and all of a sudden, down in the gorge, at the base of the cliff, I saw 2 big cats, mysterious big cats, and I was so scared. I shouted loudly. As soon as the leopard or the cat heard me shouting, it started climbing up the cliffs and disappeared in a movement. So that was the first time, that was the first live encounter with the snow leopard. I didn't know until that point what this creature was. Later I was told this was snow leopard, the mysterious animal which kills my horse. And that was the breaking point. That moment changed my life. And today I'm standing here as a conservation biologist speaking about snow leopard conservation. So snow leopard is distributed in the 12 South and Central Asian countries. The global population is estimated less than 7,000. And snow leopard, there is one unique qualities about snow leopard. One of the top qualities, they cannot roar like tiger. So that is why they are called silent roar. Apart from that, they are very elusive. They are nocturnal, so they are mostly active during the night time. And they are so well camouflaged with their natural environment. It's really hard to spot them. That is why they are given the nickname ghost of the mountain. In Nepal, snow leopards are distributed throughout the mountain range, throughout our northern regions, with an estimated population of 300 to 400 individuals. And the snow leopards are facing constant threats especially based on our personal experience, human snow leopard conflict is one of the most severe threats the species is facing, because it often comes in conflict with local herders over livestock depredation. And the situation becomes more critical when it involves in mass killing. So this is the unique behavior of the snow leopard, that it kills multiple animals at once. And because of that, sometimes it involves retributory actions from the local herders. And with these threats, apart from the human snow leopard conflict, there are other threats like previous decline, habitat loss and fragmentation, illegal hunting, diseases, and the impact of climate change. Despite of this, with our efforts, so having known about these threats, we are working since last 1 decade to reduce this threat and to support snow leopard conservation in different way. So we're based in Manang. Most of our work was focused on mitigating human snow leopard conflict and ecological monitoring of the snow leopard. That basically involves doing camera trapping, collecting scat, prey count, population, assessing the population of snow leopard, studying about their home range, and then most of the study we're focusing on human snow leopard conflict mitigation perspective. And at the same time, we are also assessing the effectiveness of different interventions that local communities are adopting to reduce the livestock loss from the snow leopard. More dominantly, after I got the Rolex Award in 2021, so I started the project, Upper Karnali Landscape Initiative. In short, it's called Project Ukali. So the main goal of the Project Ukali was to strengthen community-based biodiversity conservation in Nepal's Trans-Himalaya through local leadership. So our main goal was to sustain conservation in local or remote areas, through local leadership. So local leadership development was one of our key areas that we were focusing on. Through Project Ukali, we are trying to address a range of activities. It's not just about biodiversity conservation. It has a package of components. The first one is about research and survey. So we're studying about different biodiversity, status with snow leopard, population, dietary things, lots of things. And the second important component was education, conservation education and outreach, which we try to integrate with the traditional indigenous knowledge. The third one is about capacity building capacity of the local stakeholders and training citizen scientists to work in the field. And the fourth one is about livelihood enterprises, because when we speak about conservation, the spiritual sentiment or the law enforcement alone is not enough, because people are facing financial burden because of the snow leopard predating of livestock. That is why diversifying livelihood option was one of the key components that we are piloting. And the fourth one is, and the fifth one, the most important one, is community conservation. So our vision is to sustain conservation in our region through our own leadership development, so that we don't have to bring export from outside. That was the core vision that we were taking. We call it leading by local. So right now, as part of this vision, we are training community forests, youth clubs, local conservation institutions, women's groups, and we are trying to form the network of school-level eco-clubs. And apart from that, we are also collaborating and coordinating with different indigenous conservationists along the Nepal Himalaya, trying to form the network of local conservation champions. And in the field, most of our activities right now in Humla, most of our activities are delivered through our local champions. We used to call local citizen scientists or local conservationists. And about this, so while speaking about snow leopard conservation, or while speaking about community-based conservation, it is, especially this time, it is becoming more important to recognize the local efforts, which is largely missing in most of the conservation programs. So recognizing the local knowledge, indigenous practices, tradition, culture is very important. Failing to address their connection to nature and their admirations of the species, their spiritual admiration of the species, hampers conservation, is hampering conservation. So this is the time to rethink how we are going to perceive species like snow leopard as a ghost of the mountain or mountain deity. Because in the mountain deity have a special place in people's heart and mind, where when we say about the ghost, it is not very welcome, or it doesn't have a good appreciation from the people. That is why it is important to integrate this kind of social belief or social, the spiritual connections when we address the conservation issues in the local level. So At the same time, I believe, personally, I believe calling snow leopard as a mountain deity might improve local participation, willingness to join the conservation program, so it improves the social acceptance, and at the same time there is an opportunity to connect younger generation to these cultural lores and empower them to lead the conservation actions at the community level as the local conservation champions. So that is, therefore, it is important to rejuvenate ties between sacred species like snow leopard, local people, and their cultural belief or cultural system or the social, acceptance or stuff like that. And so it's been more than a decade now. I'm working on snow leopard conservation in Nepal, Himalaya, with primarily our work focusing on reducing the threat the snow leopard is facing, the direct threat snow leopard is facing. At the same time, we're also constantly focusing on livelihood activities, training new generation of the local conservation champions, and most important is raising awareness among bigger network of people. So down this road, we have faced so many challenges. Despite of the challenges, we have courage. We are still dedicated to lead these activities because we feel this is our responsibility. It is our need, we have to protect our resources. We cannot expect somebody else to come to our area and work for us. That is why we are determined to lead this kind of activities in Humla. So it's been more than a decade of my time in snow leopard, and every day I walk up to the snow leopard rim with the hope that I will see one. But unfortunately, I'm not able to see snow leopard after 2015. So I enjoy looking through the camera image that we get of the snow leopard and celebrate ourselves, as a reward. So my hide and seek with the snow leopard will continue until a time we share a close-up view, So with these things, with this effort, a community effort that we are trying to pilot for the first time with our effort and trying to develop a sense of ownership, local stewardship, and give a momentum among the local communities to work on snow leopard conservation and the overall mountain biodiversity in Nepal's Trans-Himalaya. Thank you.